Spider-Man Frost is a short and concise Spider-Man story that is one of my favorites to go back and read. Frost takes place during Amazing Spider-Man 700.1 and 700.2. Written by David Morrell and drawn by Klaus Janson, this quintessential Spider-Man story goes over how the seemingly monolithic hero is just a man who's doing what's right. Just in time for the holidays, I wanted to go over this story as it serves as a reminder for those who are in need of a resource that seems to be kind of fleeting nowadays. Hope. The story opens with Peter lamenting how the nights are getting longer and colder, and despite the change in weather, Spider-Man is still there, even though under the costume, he's still just a man. Constantly pushing himself to do death-defying actions in the name of the greater good, Peter Parker's responsibility is front and center of this story. He knows he needs to be Spider-Man despite just needing some rest. A blizzard is scheduled to hit New York and Peter finds himself drained. People start to frantically plan for the storm and New York is abuzz with people trying to prepare. After discovering Jonah wants to write a Spider-Man expose talking about all the property damage he's racked up, Peter heads to Aunt May's house, finding solace in her. May tells Peter that for a change he could be locked inside with everyone else and just rest. She then reminds Peter what Ben used to say about the first time it frosted every year. He said that nothing was so sad that it didn't bring something positive. The frost feels sorry for killing the flowers and gives them new life on windows. Before Peter leaves, May reminds him once again just to get some rest. Peter knows that the city needs Spider-Man, it's just a fact for him. He saves people every single night. Peter looks at his costume hanging in his closet and tells himself he needs to get out there. But the second he hits his bed, he gets his much needed rest as he sleeps almost the entire day away. When he wakes up, he sees that the blizzard has landed in New York. Seeing the snow-covered city, he thinks for a change, no one needs Spider-Man. As Peter starts to relax in his apartment, we see vignettes of various people around the city. There's an officer talking to his lieutenant saying that even the creeps and lowlifes are staying off the streets tonight, and he thinks that it'll be a quiet one. But then we cut to a building in the projects that has caught fire. Firefighters rush out to the scene as we see tenants trying to escape from the building with no luck. Next, we see the power go out across the city and everyone is left in the cold darkness of the blizzard. Peter feels his spider sense start to go off as a tree branch breaks through Aunt May's window, flooding her house with freezing air. Peter has no way to reach her, but Spider-Man does. Peter is on a rooftop and can barely move thanks to the high-speed winds. His hands are numb and he can't feel his face. He swings through the city, desperately trying to get to his aunt. As he's flying over the rooftops, he sees the apartment building from earlier on fire. An image of Aunt May flashes in Peter's mind as he instinctually goes to help the firefighters at the scene. Peter keeps telling himself to keep going forward, don't look back, as he gets the people to safety. The firefighters thank him and he thinks how tempted he was to not come because of his responsibility to help Aunt May. Peter feels a sharp feeling as his spider sense goes off and Aunt May passes out on the floor. Swinging through the city even faster now, Peter sees an ambulance stuck on a bridge that is trying to transport a pregnant woman to the hospital. He grabs a street sign and uses that to plow some of the snow out of the way. He barely makes a dent. As he's trying to come up with a plan, a plow truck driver falls asleep and careens into the ambulance, and the ambulance almost goes off the bridge as Peter catches it with his web. The truck driver saves Peter and helps him get over the bridge. The driver tells him he would love to drive him where he needs to go, but if he doesn't get to the other side of the road to clear it, another ambulance, fire truck, or any other emergency vehicle will be trapped. Peter understands and he starts to move. As the truck pulls away, Peter feels a snowball hit him right in the face. He looks over to see Hobgoblin. He gets ready to fight, but he starts getting pelted with snowballs by the rest of his worst enemies. Peter tries to fight back, but eventually succumbs, and he sees a vision of Uncle Ben. Ben helps him up as they walk through the streets. Peter apologizes, asking if he made the right choices tonight. Aunt May could be dead, and it would be because he didn't get to her in time. Ben reminds him that he's with him, and that he has great power and nothing is impossible. Peter asks Ben not to go, but Ben just says, "You did it, Peter. Look where you are." Home. Peter opens the door and finds Aunt May on the floor. Panicked, Peter sets up candles and makes tea in an effort to warm both of them up. As Peter is about to plummet into doubt and worry, the television comes on with a news station saying that power line workers worked through the night and have been able to restore the electricity to the city. Peter lays Aunt May in bed and turns the furnace on. He looks at May and sees a picture of himself and Ben on her nightstand and reminds himself that Ben is always in his heart. Peter waits in the house through the storm and takes care of Aunt May as soon as she wakes up. He starts picking up the house and Aunt May asks, "Then you'll rest?" after he repairs the broken window and plows the walkway. Aunt May makes him lay down in bed. Before Peter falls asleep, he hears May say, "How I wish he were here to see what a fine young man you turned out to be." The last panel of the story shows us Uncle Ben tending to the flowers outside the snow-covered house as Aunt May simply says, "Thank you, Peter." Sweet dreams. Spider-Man is a character that means a lot of things to a lot of different people, but this story has always meant a lot to me. On top of the dichotomy of the warmth of the holidays and the frigid cold of the blizzard, the winter backdrop of this story makes it a standout. Peter's focus on doing the right thing even when you have pushed yourself to your limits just really resonates. We see that, even despite his worries about Aunt May, everything turned out alright for the man who took all the right actions. The struggle of Spider-Man is what makes him interesting. When you see the positive after effects of his actions, it really feels like he's the everyman hero we all picture in our heads. In a time where Spider-Man comics aren't all too great right now, it just feels great to take a look back at some of the stories that really make Spider-Man feel human. Also, with the holidays being a tough time for a lot of people, I wanted to share a story that really makes Spider-Man feel like the icon of hope that the character can be. In our current world, there's a lot to be upset about, and if this video pulled you away from that negativity for even a minute, I'd be happy. I don't typically hear people talking about this comic, so I was thrilled when I came up with the idea for the video. I know this is a quicker video, but with the holidays coming up, I just want to make sure that the channel stayed on a consistent-ish schedule while spreading some holiday cheer. There's plenty more stuff coming down the pipeline, and hopefully you'll be hearing from the other guys as well in the next month or two. Alright everyone, I've been Jared, you've been wonderful, and have a great holiday. I'll see you all soon.